Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily English Talk podcast. I'm Emmer.
And I'm Jack. We're so glad you're here today. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, thank you for joining us again.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're taking a focused look today at something many English learners find surprisingly nerve-wracking, speaking on the phone in a business context.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? In an age of endless digital communication, the humble phone call can still feel like a high-stakes situation.
It really can. And I think part of that intensity, it comes from the lack of visual cues, right?
Exactly. What's fascinating here is how that lack of visual input really changes things. Suddenly, you're relying purely on auditory signals, tone of voice, clarity of speech.
Mm-hmm.
And that can really amplify any underlying anxieties about understanding or being understood professionally.
Absolutely, and that's what we're diving into today. We've looked at various resources that highlight this exact challenge, and our mission really is to equip you with not just phrases, but a real sense of confidence when you pick up that phone for business.
Yeah, think of this as your express route to feeling like, okay, I've got this.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering phone skills,
Mm-hmm.
it goes beyond simply conveying information. It's about projecting competence, building trust, and doing it quickly.
That's a great point. Think about sales, for instance.
Oh, definitely. Or customer service. How a well-handled call can influence a potential client's perception, or how clear communication can just streamline interactions. These skills have a really tangible impact.
Precisely. So we're aiming to give you actionable strategies for speaking clearly, mastering key business English phrases, and ultimately delivering your message with, assurance.
We'll be digging into practical tips and even dissecting some real-world examples later on.
Okay, but first, why focus on phone skills now? With email, messaging, it's all so instant.
That's a fair question. But the efficiency is a key factor.
Mm.
A quick call can often resolve an issue or, secure an agreement far faster than back and forth email.
True, cuts through the noise sometimes.
And it injects a human element too, which can be invaluable for actually building rapport. You hear the person's voice, their tone.
That's such a valuable insight. And for those of you navigating English as a second language, the phone uniquely sharpens the focus on listening and speaking. Like you said, no body language to help out.
Mm-hmm. Those auditory skills become paramount.
Yeah, I remember reading about the student who was perfectly comfortable presenting in meetings, face-to-face.
Okay.
But would get completely flustered by a phone call. Just total panic. It really underscored how common this feeling is.
It does. That feeling of being sort of stripped of those nonverbal supports,
Mm-hmm.
it forces a reliance on just your vocal clarity and your active listening skills.
Right.
And this is where just practicing the basics consistently can truly build a solid foundation of confidence.
And it's so important to remember the goal isn't perfection, is it? You don't need flawless grammar or a perfect native accent to be effective on the phone.
Absolutely not. Calmness, politeness, and above all, clarity. Those are the elements that truly make the difference.
Yeah, good phone skills create that positive initial impression, and that can be the catalyst for, new opportunities, right? Closing deals, strengthening business connections.
Exactly. A confident and clear phone presence is a significant asset in your professional toolkit. It's worth thinking about how honing these skills can directly benefit your specific job, your career goals.
Okay, so let's get straight into some of those essential business phone phrases. We're going to break this down, kind of look at it in a structured way.
Good idea.
We'll cover the 3 key stages: starting the conversation smoothly, handling the main topic effectively, and then wrapping things up politely and professionally.
That phased approach is really practical. It gives you a kind of mental map, doesn't it, for navigating any business call with hopefully greater ease and confidence.
Exactly. So, stage 1, starting the call. Let's say you're receiving a call. You answer the phone.
Okay.
A really effective and professional way to start is something like, "Good morning, this is Emma speaking. How can I help you today?"
Simple, clear, I like that. It's concise, it identifies you, and it immediately offers help.
Right. It sets a helpful tone right away.
Yeah, it proactively invites the caller to state their purpose. Very professional.
And what if you're the one making the call?
Okay. Different situation.
You might say something like, "Hello, this is Jack from Global Tech Solutions. I'm calling about our meeting next week."
Right? Name, company, reason for calling, straight away.
Exactly. It gives the other person immediate context. No guessing games.
And that immediate context is incredibly valuable. It shows you respect their time, lets them focus right in on the topic.
Okay, but sometimes you pick up or someone calls and you're not sure who it is. How do you ask politely?
Good question. You can use phrases like, may I ask who I'm speaking with? Or maybe, could you please confirm your name?
Both sound good. Direct, but still professional. Ensures you're talking to the right person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These clarifying functions are vital to avoid mix-ups. And yeah, keeping that polite, respectful tone is key in those initial moments.
Okay, so you've navigated the start. Now the main event, discussing the actual business.
Right, the core reason for the call.
When you're ready to dive in, using clear and direct phrases is definitely the way to go. Think about saying things like, I'd like to discuss the project timeline.
Direct.
Or, I just wanted to follow up on the email I sent yesterday.
Common one.
Or maybe, could we go over the contract details together? These phrases just clearly signal what you want to talk about.
And the power there is in that directness and clarity. The other person immediately knows the focus, which makes the whole exchange more efficient.
Definitely. And here's a small but, I think, significant tip for maintaining politeness. Softening your requests.
How do you mean?
Well, using phrases like, I just wanted to, or would it be possible to, it just makes things sound a bit less demanding.
Ah, right. So instead of reschedule our meeting to Friday.
Exactly. You'd say, would it be possible to reschedule our meeting to Friday? Same information, just nicer.
Yeah, that subtle shift can make a big difference in how receptive someone is. Shows politeness, respect for their time, too.
For sure. Now, let's face it, sometimes you just don't catch what someone says. The line crackles, they speak quickly. It happens.
So everyone.
And in those moments, it's so much better to ask for clarification than to just nod along and hope you got it.
Oh, definitely. Pretending you understood when you didn't. That's asking for trouble later.
So use clear phrases like, sorry, could you repeat that, please? Or maybe, I didn't quite catch that. Would you mind saying it again?
Or even confirming what you think you heard.
Yes. Like, okay, let me just confirm what you said.
Yeah.
That way you ensure you've actually grasped the information accurately.
Such a critical point. Ambiguity is bad news in business. Seeking clarification shows you're committed to getting it right.
All right, so the main discussion is done. The conversation is drawing to a close. How do you end the call professionally?
The wrap-up. Important, too.
You need some good closing lines. Things like, thank you for your time today. Simple, effective.
Or maybe I'll follow up with an email shortly, if that's the plan.
Right, or just, it was great speaking with you, or I look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yeah, these signal the end clearly. Keep it courteous. And often, like you said, outline the next steps, which is always helpful.
And speaking of next steps, if you've agreed on something, confirm it before you hang up.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial.
So just to confirm, we're meeting on Monday at 10 a.m., right? Just that quick check.
Prevents so many misunderstandings down the line, ensures everyone's on the same page. Essential.
Then you can finish with a simple, pleasant, have a great day, or speak to you soon.
Ends it on a positive note. Reinforces the relationship. Leaves a good final impression.
Okay, so let's quickly recap some of those key phrases we've hit. Good morning. This is Name speaking. How can I help you?
Hello. This is name from company I'm calling about.
Could we go over? Would it be possible to?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
And thank you for your time. I'll follow up soon. These are really your foundation.
Definitely. And for you, the listener, maybe pause here, jot these down, say them out loud a few times, get familiar with them.
Yeah, make them feel natural so they just roll off the tongue when you need them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the what to say. Now let's shift focus a bit.
To the how.
Exactly. How you deliver those words is just as important, maybe even more so sometimes. Let's talk tips for speaking clearly and with confidence.
Because even the best phrases can fall flat if the delivery isn't right.
If you're mumbling or speaking way too fast or sound unsure, it really hinders understanding and trust, actually.
Yeah, the listener struggles to follow. They might get frustrated, maybe even question, your competence.
It sounds harsh, but it can happen.
So let's get into some actionable tips. Things you can do to sound clear, calm, and confident, even if you're feeling a bit anxious inside.
Okay, let's hear them.
First and foremost, speak slowly and clearly. Seems obvious, right? But it's so impactful.
It really is. And it's often the first thing to go when nerves kick in. We speed up.
We do. So Consciously slowing down helps your articulation, gives the listener time to process. You don't need to rush.
And speaking at that deliberate pace actually signals control. It sounds more confident.
Definitely. Here's a little exercise you can try. Record yourself saying a simple closing line like, "Thank you for your time today. I'll follow up with an email."
Okay.
Then listen back. Honestly, were you rushing? Were the words clear, easy to understand?
That kind of self-assessment can be really eye-opening, or maybe ear-opening. Helps you pinpoint where to adjust.
Okay, tip number 2 might surprise you. Smile while you speak.
Smile. On the phone. They can't see you.
I know, but trust me, they can hear it in your voice.
Really? How does that work?
Smiling actually changes the shape of your vocal tracts slightly, and it makes your voice sound warmer, more approachable, definitely more energetic.
Huh. Okay. I can sort of imagine that. It injects a bit of positivity.
Try it right now. Say, "It's great to speak with you today." First normally, then with a real smile. You'll likely hear a difference.
Okay. It's great to speak with you today, with implied smile. It's great to speak with you today.
Yeah, okay, I hear it. It does sound a bit more engaging.
See? Okay, next tip. Prepare key points before the call.
Preparation. The cornerstone of confidence.
Totally. Just jotting down the main things you need to discuss, maybe a few useful phrases. It helps you feel focused, organized, less stressed.
Yeah, having that outline means you're less likely to get flustered or forget something important.
Right. You can even write out a little introductory script if that helps you get started smoothly.
Yeah.
And always have a notepad handy during the call.
For notes, questions that pop up. Yeah, good call. That proactive approach really helps manage anxiety.
Now, this is just as vital as speaking. Active listening.
Not just waiting for your turn to talk. Exactly. You need to be fully engaged with what the other person is saying, paying attention to the content, the tone.
And being ready to respond thoughtfully. It's a two-way street.
And if you miss something, don't panic. It's okay to ask them to repeat it.
Right, like we said before. Could you repeat that last part, please?
Sorry, the line was a little unclear. Can you say that again? It shows you are listening and you care about understanding correctly.
Yeah, don't see it as weakness. See it as commitment to accuracy. Most people appreciate that.
Definitely. And finally, practice. Practice makes proficient, right?
The old adage holds true.
Try rehearsing common business call situations you face often. Confirming meetings, following up, handling inquiries.
You can record yourself, like you suggested, or even better, role play with someone. A colleague, a friend, a language partner.
The more you rehearse, the more natural and confident you'll feel when the real call happens. And remember, small mistakes are normal.
Absolutely. Don't let them throw you off. Calmness, politeness, professionalism. That's what really counts.
So, quick recap on confidence tips. Speak slowly, clearly. Smile. Prepare your points. Listen actively. And practice those scenarios.
Solid advice. These are all things you can start doing right away to improve your professional phone skills.
Okay, now to really see how this all comes together, let's listen to a few short, realistic business call dialogues.
Good idea. See the phrases and tips in action.
We'll play 3 common scenarios, and after each one, we'll break it down a bit.
Perfect. Highlighting the specific strategies used. That should make it clearer how you can apply these techniques yourself.
All right, scenario 1, scheduling a meeting.
Okay, listen for how Sarah starts and how she proposes the time. Host speaker. As Sarah. Good morning, this is Sarah from Clearway Solutions. May I speak with Mr. Davis? Expert speaker, as Mr. Davis. Speaking, how could I help you? Host speaker, as Sarah. I'm calling to schedule a meeting regarding the new project proposal. Would next Tuesday at 10 a.m. work for you? Expert speaker, as Mr. Davis. Let me check my calendar. Yes, that works. Can we do it over Zoom? Host speaker, as Sarah? Of course. I'll send you the link by email. Thank you for your time. Expert speaker, as Mr. Davis. Looking forward to it. Have a great day.
Okay, short and sweet.
Let's break it down. Sarah started with that polite professional greeting. Name, company, then the request. May I speak with? Very standard, very effective.
And when I suggested the time, I used, would next Tuesday at 10 a.m. work for you? Not, let's meet Tuesday at 10. It's more considerate.
Exactly. Shows respect for his schedule. And his response was clear, courteous. Then the agreement on Zoom, confirming the next step, sending the link, and polite closings. Textbook.
All right, dialogue number 2, following up on a proposal.
Okay, listen for Mark's purpose statement and the natural flow. Expert speaker, as Mark. Hello, this is Mark from Green Edge Marketing. I'm calling to follow up on the proposal we sent last week. Host speaker, as Mr. Taylor's. Hi, Mark. Thanks for following up. Yes, I've had a chance to review it. Expert speaker, as Mark. Great. Do you have any questions or feedback at this point? Host speaker, as Miss Taylor. Yes, actually, I'd like to discuss the budget section. Can we go over that together, perhaps? Expert speaker, as Mark. Of course. Absolutely, I'm happy to clarify anything. Host speaker, as Mrs. Taylor. Perfect. Let's maybe set up a quick call later this afternoon. I can email you a time that works. Expert speaker, as Mark. Sounds good. Talk soon.
Okay, another good example. Mark's opening, I'm calling to follow up on, is super common and effective for this. Immediately clear why he's calling.
Yep. And Miss Taylor's response acknowledges that. Then the conversation moves smoothly into the specifics using phrases like, I'd like to discuss, and can we go over that together? Polite, clear language.
Agreed. Okay, final dialogue. This one's a bit tougher. Handling a complaint.
Right. Tone is absolutely critical here. Empathy, professionalism. Listen to Linda's concern and Daniel's response. Host speaker, as Linda. Good afternoon. This is Linda from Apex Logistics. I'm calling regarding the delivery delay we experienced last week. Expert speaker, as Daniel. Linda, I'm very sorry to hear that. I understand how frustrating that must be. Host speaker is Linda. Yes, well, the shipment arrived 2 days late, and frankly, we weren't notified about any delay. Expert speaker, as Daniel. Okay. I completely understand your frustration there. I sincerely apologize. I'll look into this issue right away, and I'll find out what happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. I'll also send you a written update by the end of today. Host speaker, as Linda. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate your quick response on this. Expert speaker, as Daniel, of course. And again, Linda, I do apologize for the inconvenience caused.
Okay.
That's a tricky one. Handled well. Daniel's initial response is key there.
Phrases like, I'm very sorry to hear that, and I understand how frustrating that must be, shows immediate empathy.
Right. Acknowledges her experience. And then, crucially, he takes ownership. I'll look into the issue, make sure it doesn't happen again, and he gives a concrete next step. Sends you a written update.
Yeah, that proactive response is really good for de-escalating tension and reassuring the customer.
And notice, even though it's a complaint, both speakers kept a polite, professional tone throughout. Essential in business, especially with problems.
Definitely. So for all of you listening, a great way to learn from these is, like we said, pause, repeat parts of the dialogue, practice both roles.
Or try shadowing, listen, and repeat immediately after the speaker. Really helps with pronunciation, getting the rhythm, the confidence.
Okay, we've covered phrases, seen them in action. Now let's quickly touch on some common mistakes people make on business calls and how you can avoid them.
Good idea. Knowing the pitfalls helps you sidestep them.
First one, we keep coming back to it because it's so common. Speaking too fast.
Yep. Nerves kick in, you rush, clarity goes out the window. The fix, consciously slow down, breathe before you speak, pause after key points.
Second mistake, using language that's too informal for the situation.
Right. Starting a formal business call with, hey, what's up? Probably isn't the best move.
Probably not. Stick to polite professional language unless you have a really established informal relationship. When in doubt, err on the side of formal.
Sound advice. Mistake number 3, not being prepared.
Winging it. It often leads to sounding disorganized or unsure.
And the fix is simple. Prepare. Jot down key points, questions, maybe those opening closing phrases. It keeps you on track, boosts confidence.
Next mistake. Being afraid to ask for clarification.
Yeah, worrying about seeming inadequate or slowing things down.
But remember, asking shows you care about accuracy. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Or let me just make sure I understood. Perfectly fine actually shows professionalism.
Much better than guessing wrong.
And finally, mistake number 5, ending the call too abruptly. Just hanging up.
Yeah, a proper closing matters. It leaves a final impression.
So take a moment. Summarize next steps if there are any. Thank them for their time. Use a polite closing like, have a great day, or speak soon.
Good wrap-up. So, avoid speaking too fast, using slang, calling unprepared, fearing clarification, and ending abruptly.
Got it. Being mindful of those really helps project that polished professional image.
Definitely.
Okay, we're nearly there. Let's finish with those final polish points. Pronunciation and tone of voice.
Absolutely vital, especially on the phone where that's all the listener has to go on.
Exactly. Great grammar, great vocabulary. Doesn't help much if people can't understand your pronunciation clearly.
So focus on enunciation. Pronounce each syllable distinctly. Don't slur words. If you're unsure of a word, slow down on that specific word.
Yeah, take a common word like schedule. Make sure you're hitting all the sounds clearly. Sex ID jewel or a shed jewel, depending on your preference, but make it clear. Those details matter.
And there's tone. It conveys so much. In business, you generally want a tone that's warm, friendly, but also confident, not flat or robotic.
Right. Try injecting a bit more energy, especially at the start. Hello, this is name, with some warmth, versus a monotone, hello, this is name, makes a difference.
It really does. That energy signals engagement, makes the interaction more positive from the get-go.
And our final practice tip ties this all together. Record yourself again.
Listen back specifically for pronunciation clarity and for the energy and warmth in your tone. Where could you improve?
Self-assessment, it's powerful. And remember the smile. Even if they can't see it, it comes through in the warmth of your voice.
It truly does. So, focusing on clear pronunciation and a positive, confident tone. Those are the finishing touches.
Adds that extra layer of polish and assurance.
Exactly. It enhances your ability to communicate effectively and make that strong, positive, professional impression on every call.
And that just about brings us to the end of our deep dive today on business phone calls. Wow, we covered a lot.
We did. Essential phrases, tips for clarity and confidence, common mistakes, pronunciation, tone, the works.
Our main goal really was to give you practical tools and strategies you can use immediately to help you feel more confident and have more successful calls.
And remember, like any skill, it takes practice. So use these tips, make those calls. The more you do it, the easier and more natural it will become.
Absolutely. Revisit this discussion if you need a refresher. Keep practicing. Every call is a chance to improve. If you found this helpful today, please do think about leaving us a review. It really helps other learners find the show.
And definitely subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on future discussions and more tips for your English communication skills.
Your support means a lot and lets us keep doing this.
It does indeed.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll catch you next time.
Speak to you soon.